Dear students, today's topic of my lecture, Unit 2, Kinematics. In it, the chapter 3, Motion in a Straight Line. So, what you have to learn in it, that is here. The first, I would like to explain what is kinematics, then concept of point object, reference point and frame of reference, then origin of position and time, rest and motion, they are the relative terms. Then motion in 1, 2 and 3 dimensions. After that, motion in a straight line, distance, that is path length and displacement. At last, I explain scalar and vector quantities. So one by one, I explain, you understand it. So first of all, what is kinematics? Kinematics means it is the study of motion of the objects without taking into the cause of their motion is called kinematics. Now you understand the concept of point object. Point object means if the size of the object is very small as compared to its distance covered, then it can be treated as point object. For example, we take a plane under a journey of several thousand kilometers can be treated as point object. Similarly, a ball can be taken as point object with respect to the distance covered by the ball. If large distance covered by the ball, then the ball can be treated as point object. Same way we can say that car and ship can be taken as point object if distance covered by them is very large as compared to their dimensions, that is their size. So these are the some examples of the point object, and that you can see in the diagram also. So this is the concept of point object. Now the reference point. Reference point means a point which you have to take in a rectangular coordinate system, which generally we say that it is the origin. So how we can define that reference point? For that purpose, we consider a rectangular coordinate system consisting of three mutually perpendicular axes, that is x, y and z. Then the point of intersection of these axes is called origin. You can see here in the diagram also, this point O is the origin, and this point origin that serves as the reference point. So the coordinates x, y, z of an object describe the position of object with respect to this coordinate system. Now you understand the concept of frame of reference. The coordinate system along with a clock to measure the time constitute a frame of reference, that you can see here. This is the coordinate system x, y, z, and a clock is placed which measure the time constitutes a frame of reference. Now there are two directions, one is positive direction, another one is negative direction. So the positive direction of an axis is in the direction of increasing numbers, that is coordinates. Negative direction, the negative direction of an axis is in the direction of decreasing number, that is coordinates. So this is about the frame of reference, positive and negative directions, as well as we understand the concept of the reference point. Now some important points that you have to remember while describing the motion, we use the reference point or the origin point with respect to which the motion of other bodies are observed. We can use any object as reference point. For example, a car at rest or in motion can be used as reference point. To a tree, you are moving forward, and to you, the trees are moving backward. So both you and tree can serve as reference point, but motion can be described without reference point. So this is about the reference point. Now origin, unit and direction of position measurement of an object. So here you can see that one position is given along x-axis. So the distance measured to the right of the origin means the origin point that we have taken, which is at 0 point. So this is the origin, and right to this origin, the onto the position axis can be taken as positive, and the distance which is measured left to the origin is taken as negative. The origin of the position can be shifted to any point onto the position axis. The distance between 2 points on position axis is not affected due to the shift in the position of position axis, due to the shift in the origin on position axis. So these are the 3 points which is very important. Similarly, we can also explain the origin, unit and sense of passage of the time. So here also we take this point, origin of the time axis or to the time axis. Similarly, we can say that the time measured to the right of the origin of the time axis is taken positive, and time measured to the left of the origin is taken as negative. Second point, the origin of time axis can be shifted to any point on the time axis. Third point, the negative time coordinate of a point on the time axis means that the object that reaches that point at a time that much before the origin of time, that is t equal to 0. So this is about origin on position axis and the origin on the time axis. The time interval between 2 points on the time axis is not affected due to the shifting in the origin on time axis. So you remember this thing. Now we take another concept. When the same point is chosen as the origin for the position and time. So you can see here the point O is the origin for position and time, where we have taken x equal to 0 and t equal to 0. Then from this origin we can measure the time as well as position from point O. For example, we say that OA having the position 30 kilometer and the time 6 hours. Similarly, between AB, the position is 40 minus 30, that is 10 kilometer, but from the origin, position of B point is 40 kilometer and the time is 8 hours. Similarly, from the origin O, The position of C point is 55 kilometer and the time is 11 hours. When the different points are chosen as the origin for position and time, you can see here. Here we have taken origin for time at position A and origin for position that we are taking at point B. So we have to take the position of the object or the body from point B, and for time we take from point A. Now rest and motion. So what is basically the rest? Rest means a body which does not change its position with respect to the time, that is called rest. And the motion, the body which changes the position of the object or the body with respect to the time, that is called motion. So here we take one example. Here a one ball is here, one car is here, and a person is standing here which is at rest and observing these two objects. So at present the ball is at rest, car is at rest with respect to this person, and the person is stationary. Similarly, the car is at rest with respect to that stationary person. Now as the ball moves, then the ball is moving with respect to the stationary person. Similarly, when the car moves, then the car is moving with respect to stationary person. So this is about rest and motion. Now here the definition which I already explained you. A body which is at rest if its position does not change with respect to its surroundings or frame of reference or with respect to the time. For example, mountains, buildings, etc. Similarly, the motion, a body is said to be in motion if its position is changing with respect to its surroundings or frame of reference. For example, a car moving or the bus moving, train moving, cricket ball is moving. So all they are the examples of motion. All the planets revolving around the sun, molecules of a gas in motion above 0 Kelvin. Now we say that rest and motion are relative terms. Means an object which is at rest can also be in motion simultaneously. For example, we take the passengers which are sitting in a moving train are at rest with respect to each other, but they are in motion at the same time with respect to the object like trees, buildings, etc. outside the train. So this is an example by which we can say that rest and motion are relative terms. Another example we can take here for the rest and motion. We are saying they are the relative terms. For that purpose, a person is stationary, observing the phenomena. A car is moving with respect to the stationary person. You can see here. And another example, this car is also moving with respect to the stationary person. But what happens when both the cars are moving together? Then both the cars are at rest with respect to the stationary person in this position. But when both the cars are moving, so both the car at rest with respect to each other, but they are moving with respect to the stationary person. So that's why we say that rest and motion are relative terms. Similarly, we take another example here. In this example, we can see that the earth is moves around the sun, or earth is moving around the sun, as well as rotate about its axis. Therefore, a man is at rest with respect to the earth, but is rotating and revolving around the sun. So this is about another example for rest and motion are relative terms. Now we define here motion in 1, 2 and 3 dimensions. One dimensional motion. The motion of object is said to be one dimensional if only one of three coordinates are required to specify the position of object with respect to time. And it is also known as rectilinear motion. In such a motion, the object moves along a straight line. For example, a train moving in a straight track, a man walking on a narrow, level road, etc. Two-dimensional motion. The motion of the object is said to be two-dimensional if two of the three coordinates are required to specify their position with respect to the time. In such a motion, the object moves in a plane. For example, we say that an insect is crawling onto the surface, or ant moving on a floor, a billiard ball moving on a billiard table, etc. Similarly, the three-dimensional motion, the motion of the object is said to be three-dimensional if all the three coordinates are required to specify their position with respect to the time. Then such motion takes place in space. For example, a flying airplane, bird, kite, etc. Now we define here the path length. The line joining the position of moving object is called its path, and the length of the actual path between the initial and final position gives the path length or distance traveled by the body. Distance is a scalar quantity. Now you understand it by this animated part. Here we are taking a person is moving and travel the 4 kilometer. After that it changes its direction and travel the 3 kilometer. Then the total distance traveled by that person is 7 kilometer. Similarly, here we take another animated part. A person is moving along the straight line and travel the 5 kilometer and return back to its initial position. So in that condition, the total distance traveled by the person is 10 kilometer. Similarly, we can define the displacement. So the displacement is the directed line segment joining the initial and final position of a body, or in a simple word that we say that the displacement is the shortest distance between the initial and final position. So how you can understand it? Again, by the animation you can understand. Here the person is moving along the straight line and travel the 4 kilometer, and then it changes its direction and travel 3 kilometer. Then the displacement is approximately equal to 5 kilometer in the direction shown by the arrow, this arrow. Similarly, we can take another illustration. A person is moving along the straight line and travel the 4 kilometer and return back to its initial position. So its initial and final position, that is same. So that's why the displacement is 0. Now if the body changes the position from one position to another position, then it displacement in time interval delta t, which is t2 minus t1, becomes delta x equal to x2 minus x1, where x1 is the initial position of the object or body and x2 is the final position of the object or body. Similarly, t1 is initial time and t2 is final time. So if a body changes its one position to another position, that we are saying x21, and x21, that we say that delta x, or you can say that the body changes its one position x1 to another position x2, then its displacement delta x, which is equal to x2 minus x1 in time interval delta t equal to t2 minus t1. Now conclusion about the displacement. The displacement is a vector quantity. Displacement has units of length. Displacement of an object in a given time interval can be positive, 0 or negative. Actual distance traveled by an object in a given time interval can be equal to or greater than magnitude of displacement. This point is very important. Similarly, the another point is displacement of an object between 2 points does not tell exactly how the object actually moved between these points. 6.1 is the displacement of a particle between 2 points is a unique path which can take particle from its initial to final position. And the seventh point is the displacement of an object is not affected due to the shift in the origin of position axis. Now here you can see that the difference between the distance and displacement, we are taking here the two positions A and B, and the shortest distance is from A to B, that is the displacement. You can see that traveled by this ball, and similarly the distance traveled by this ball from A to B along the path ACB. So this is the total path length. So it is a distance. You can see it's again. So this is the distance traveled by the ball between the point A and B. But the displacement is the shortest distance between A and B, that you can see here. Now the difference between the distance and displacement. So here you see that there are 2 points are given here. The distance is a scalar quantity, whereas displacement is a vector quantity. Similarly, the distance traveled by a moving body cannot be 0, and in displacement, the final displacement of a body can be 0, that you have seen in the illustration. Now, scalar quantity. Scalar quantities are those quantities which has magnitude only. For example, length, mass, time, speed, etc. Similarly, the vector quantities are those physical quantities which has both magnitude as well as direction and also follow the law of vector additions. Then we say that it is a vector quantity. For example, displacement, velocity, acceleration, momentum, force, etc. But current has both magnitude as well as direction, but still it is a scalar quantity because it does not follow the law of vector additions. Means law of scalar additions are applicable in case of electric current. So that's why it is a scalar quantity. And what are the law vector additions that you will study in motion in a plane? Now, if you like my video, then like it, subscribe it, press the bell icon, stay safe, stay healthy, learn physics with my YouTube channel by staying at home. Thank you and have a nice day.